you a bit bored seeing glossy ads of beautiful buildings and villas using multitude of adjectives? Dream homes, unmatched location, luxurious amenities, open green spaces, international lifestyle. Well, I am. And it leaves me wondering, what's the point of spending so much money, especially in a downturn, where every rupee counts in full-page ads, which no one seems to remember or distinguish? What's really the mandate of the smart marketing professionals in India's overcrowded real estate industry? Are they still focusing on building a long-term brand, or has the slowdown compelled them to look at quick sales? What are the marketing strategies they think work in tough times? Let's slug it out with some of the top marketing minds. We've got with us Smita Nyogi, VP Marketing, Mahindra Life Spaces. Smita, welcome to the show. Also with us, Girish Shah, EVP Marketing and Sales, Godrej Properties. Girish, good to have you with us. We have with us Harish Bijur, CEO Harish Bijur Consults, Brand Strategy Specialist. Harish, thanks very much for making the time. And Sameer Jasuja, founder and CEO of Prop Equity, Kiruba Shankar, CEO of Business Blogging, and Bharat Dhupar, CPO and CMO, Omkar Realtors. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us right at the top of the show. I think I'm going to start with Smita, who's had some breathing time. Smita, what really is the big overriding concern, let's say, with Mahindra right now? Is it, for your real estate business, is it to push sales, or the focus is still on spending to build that big long-term brand?
The reality of the marketplace is something that we have to work with. So Mahindra is already a well-known brand. So we are riding on that in terms of the equity that Mahindra has. But in the shorter term, we have to look at how we are able to get and generate the right kind of customer interaction and customer motivation to come out and buy our product. In the longer run, we will definitely look at building the brand, because it does not only help us in terms of selling, but it helps us build a long-term relationship with our future customers. So both are very important for us today.
Okay, Girish, come in here and tell me. I mean, I've seen this interesting ad campaign on television with Aamir Khan. So for you, are you juxtaposing both and saying, first of all, have the marketing budget shrunk, or have they increased in this period where we are looking at, sluggishness?
Manisha, I'm yet to come across any marketeer who's ever happy and satisfied or satiated with the marketing budgets he has. So over my entire career, I've always ensured that I enjoy whatever budgets are given to me by my bosses and promoters who I work with. Coming to Godrej, the first thing that we built, which stands tall, which is over 116 years ago, is trust. And I think for us, that's what's primarily important. And that's what we continue to build in terms of our associations with our brand. Truly trust, credibility, and commitment. So therefore, the way we see the economy moves, whether it's a slowdown or it's a growth cycle, I think it's a part of any business, and we evaluate it and take it as it comes. So for us, I think it's critical to keep the customer and brand first, and of course, indeed, keeping in mind business results that are as important to us as the above two. So we keep focusing on investing as opposed to cutting down in terms of our focus areas.
Okay, fair enough. So, with Mahindra and Godrej, both of you have an easier job. You already have great brands to work with. But let me come to Bharat. Bharat, your job is far more challenging. A super luxury project, Omkar 1973 Worli, and you're competing with the big boys in Mumbai's real estate space. Tell me, I mean, at this point of time, what is the focus on? My big question, is it on building the brand, or is it in really pushing the sales? I want some honest answers here.
I think the first focus, and clearly the focus, is the product. I can build the brand not by anything else but keeping the focus on the product. And I think so what we did is, before we went out doing any marketing or anything, we put the best of the people to work on the product. We started construction, we put in the best companies to work on the construction, and after we had done all that, put in the right resources, put in the right services, put in the right planning and design and the product, and that's when you go out into the market. For us, because the challenge was to create that brand, which was, because we being a fairly new entrant, it was important, and only by giving promises and doing marketing, I don't think so it works anymore. So the entire orchestra had to be put in place, and that's what we did. And we started with Malad, which was very successful, and now we are going to Omkar 1973 Worli, which is redefining luxury in Bombay.
Okay, so your focus right now is on delivering the right product so that you win the faith of the customer. Harish, come in here. You know, I will come to now the basics of real estate advertising as it happens in this country. I said in my opening statement that I'm fairly bored of seeing ads which just leave no impact at all on me. They're just beautiful, glossy villas, buildings, smart, with lots and lots of adjectives. Is there anything interesting you've seen in the real estate space which has caught your eye?
Manisha, I am equally bored as you are. In fact, I'm yawning all the time when I look at real estate marketing and branding. We must appreciate first of all that, real estate is essentially a brick, mortar, glass, steel and brand imagery business. On one end you put the brick, mortar, steel and all the physicals, and the other side you put the imagery. Now when you look at imagery building, I think there's a certain degree of short-sightedness in this space. However, today and around the table in this debate itself, we have organized players in the market. We have organized names who are saying that, hey listen, I have the equity of a brand called Godrej or a brand called Mahindra, and I want to utilize that and create better and bigger imagery in this space as well. So I think this is nascent space. Things are just about falling into place. Gone are the days when people could just sell anything that they put together. But the fact remains that the brick and mortar portion of it is very important. The physicals in this business are equally important as the virtuals, and the virtuals is the brand imagery.
All right, so let's just take a quick look at what's happening in the market today. You're bombarded with very, very short-term project-specific strategies. So there is a product, of course, which you will go and sample through the sample apartments. But I think the biggest just lash out has been subvention schemes, the most popular and potent marketing strategy employed by developers across India. And when you have a Mahindra and a Tata and a Godrej and a DLF also looking at subvention schemes, that this is something that will catch the attention of the buyer. Samir, explain to me, why is it that subvention schemes have become so important today to push sales and a very important marketing tool?
I think really speaking, it's not as much of it is a marketing tool, of course, but it's the need of the hour.
Tool. But in real estate, I think it's still very, very together. I don't think branding is a very different objective so far.
See, subvention schemes have come into place right now specifically because investors are shying away from the market and end users need to pay their EMIs and their rent at the same time in most cases, because these are primary markets we're talking about. So the developer can provide some kind of a relief by actually padding up the price and not giving the consumer the discount, but giving that to the bank in a form of interest. But at least the end user and the investor who's kind of fed up of delayed projects, he gets that comfort that I will only have to pay once the project is ready.
Why does a name like Tata, for example, have to use subvention scheme today?
Clearly today, that clearly demonstrates that there is not enough liquidity in the market, both with the end user and with the investor. And lots of times what has happened is that the developer has got stuck because the investor stops paying the installments in the meantime. So he pays the first 3 installments and then runs short of money and the project can come to a standstill.
So it's also protecting themselves.
Absolutely,
from stopped EMIs.
So then they get the monies directly from the bank and a surety that they can then go ahead and execute the project more comfortably and plan their cash flows better.
So it's a sales strategy and a business strategy, maybe not a pure marketing strategy, but something which caught my attention. And of course, dime a dozen ads, festive freebies, seasonal festive freebies offered to the buyers to pump up sales. Now free club membership, waiver of stamp duty, all of that happened. Smita, come in here. I was quite surprised to see white goods, etc. also being advertised. So you said it, and very honestly right up front on the show that yes, sales is something that's at the top of the mind of every marketing person, but did it really boost sales? Did that work for you?
You have the investor and you have the end user. So let me put it on the table that today investors are shying away from buying real estate more, and end customers are coming in and postponing their decisions. When you do promotions such as this, what it essentially does is that it helps make the decision faster. So the customer who's come in and who's inquired about the product really says, oh great, this is Mahindra, they're not going to come up with an offer again like this, so let me just close the sale because I've come, I've done my investigation, I've done all my research, and now I've come to close the product. So this, what it really did for us is it helped us close the sales. None of these offers, look, this is the largest investment that any person makes in his lifetime. Whether it's the first time or the second time around, and therefore decisions such as these cannot be influenced by offers and schemes. What it really does, and I'm sure it would apply for all other developers, is that it has helped us close our sales, and that's something that we are pretty happy about.
Okay, fair enough. Let me bring in Kruba here. Kruba, we had this very interesting discussion on marketing strategies for real estate companies in SouthCon last week. So, you know, social media, it's a big area to engage with a customer, to win his trust, to do festive discount offers, to anything at all. So run us through your current impressions of how real estate is marketed in India before I come to what are the strategies that you recommend they can use.
So Manisha, first thing, I think real estate really has to learn a lot about leveraging social media from the FMCG and the auto industry. There's a lot that needs to be done. I think just like how you are very cloyed with seeing those ads on TV, on newspaper, even the presence online isn't that much different. I think advertising really in the online space is really out, and what's really needed is knowledge marketing. I think, but that's one area where the real estate sector is really lacking behind.
Okay. Girish, you know, in the conversations we've had in the past, you've talked about some interesting ways in which you've been marketing the Godrej Properties brand. Would you agree with Kruba that maybe the industry, and I would like your perspective as a marketing person, not just for Godrej, but for, you know, looking at the industry as a whole, there is still, the industry is at a very nascent stage when it comes to employing the right marketing strategies?
See, honestly, I'm not in a position to comment because I haven't really, engaged with too many largely real estate based marketing professionals. As I see it, I think every industry is evolving, and today the real estate sector is like what aviation was, a couple of years ago, wherein, you had new entrants coming in, not only in the business space, but also in the employee space. So I think today real estate marketeers are not just, born and bred in the real estate sector, but come in from diverse sectors such as, financial services, FMCG, and so on. So I think they bring a fair amount of intelligence, credibility, capability, and understanding of consumers, and therefore what works and what doesn't work in a particular sector. You spoke about festive offers, and I must tell you, Manisha, this year, and in fact, since the time I've been in real estate, I haven't had too much of, festivities during Diwali, because most of the time I've been on road shows. The last time I was in New York, and this time I was in Melbourne. Basically, what we do is during the festive season, we engage very aggressively with HNIs and ultra HNIs, and there we talk to them about, opportunities in not just in real estate, but really broadly on the Indian economy, potential asset classes such as gold, stock markets, real estate, evaluation of India as an investment destination versus the US or Hong Kong or Singapore or any other such global platforms. And that largely has been the way we have driven our business model forward. And in fact, we went back to basics. We looked at customer lifetime value. We looked at developing NRI markets. And today, over 40% of our sales comes from these verticals. So for us, the slowdown has been actually a point in time where we have gone back to brass tacks, gone back to basics, continued to strengthen what was important to us, which was our brand equity, which was building customer lifetime value, which was developing economic models and ROI-driven programs, which helped us, enhance the bang for our marketing buck.
Okay, I'm going to take a very quick short break at this moment. Girish has outlined something that he's doing right, and very interesting, Sameer, isn't it? Engaging with NRIs one-on-one, making a presentation. of real estate as an asset class within the larger gamut of investing in India. Come back and discuss a few more smart strategies that each developer here present is engaging in, and of course get some smart strategies also from Harish and Krupa. You're watching Smart Strategies in Marketing for Real Estate in Tough Times. Welcome back. What are developers doing to make their brand stronger? Because every sluggish period or a downturn can be used to your advantage by making your brand stand out. I'm going to toss across to Bharat Dupar. Bharat, you talked about the product. Undoubtedly, in a brick and mortar business, your product speaks for itself. But run us through some of the smart marketing strategies which probably have distinguished you from, let's say, the rest of the real estate developers, because that's also an important task. It's an extremely cluttered industry.
See, one of the things which we did was for our Malad campaign, we had worked a lot on radio. Now, radio, if you look at businesses, 80% of your real estate is normally sold within the city itself. And where else can you get a better target than the people with such bad infrastructure on the road? And that's where we focused on, and we targeted the radio very well. Radio, along with it, the hoardings, etc. So it was a 360-degree campaign, but radio worked very well for us, and I think so we were the first people to focus on radio and use it to the maximum.
Okay, Harish, come in here. What is your impression? Everybody believes that real estate is a local business and the mediums best used are newspapers, hoardings and radio. But if I look at all the brand surveys and how the big FMCG companies or others have built their brand, they can't rule out other mediums like internet or television in the willingness to pay. The WTP, if you have to assess building a large brand through TV and internet, should also figure, isn't it?
Absolutely. The real estate business, I think we make some mistakes, and I think many players are making this mistake by skewing their entire budgets towards advertising. Because if you have 100 Indian rupees, if you were to skew 90 rupees on advertising and 10 rupees for the rest of it, I think you're doing wrong. The typical format, I'm jumping back into the basics of advertising and marketing, and I'd simply say that, advertising just gives you the umbrella cover. And for that umbrella cover, you need not spend as much as you're actually spending today. There are other important aspects in this trajectory, which is building the interest in the brand, building the desire for the brand, and then taking into that action of actual purchase. So the interest and desire can actually be stoked by mediums such as television, radio, press, the internet, and 360-degree marketing, social media marketing as such. But then that action of sale is actually going to be skewed by the 1:1 branding that you're going to be doing, the 1:1 personal contact programs you're going to be running, the 1:1 HNIs that you're going to run behind, and the way you're going to focus on the individual, because this is a fine print medium, this is a high value purchase, this is a once in a lifetime or twice in a lifetime purchase. In this kind of a thing, you have to be very, very careful to ensure that the fine print is disseminated clearly by a human being the other person can actually trust. So the other human being out there who is actually the key account manager or the key guy who is actually selling to the other guy is very, very important. So the importance of 1:1 selling can just never be underestimated, and you can use 1:1 advertising, 1:1 branding, 1:1 research, 1:1 selling. All of it together with just a very, very high quality individual or large numbers of such individuals.
Okay. Krupa, social media, tell us, how do you do this one-on-one with social media? Because it's dispersed. How are you reaching the right, let's say, viewer or the target audience? How do you decide that, and what is it that you need to do today to make that cut in social media?
I think contextual advertising works brilliantly, whether it's Google ads or Facebook ads. The ability for you to micro-target that person based on what job, what locality, whether he's married or not, I think that gives a tremendous leeway. That said, I think one of the most important points where online really comes into play is the kind of window shopping that we do before we actually make the purchase. I mean, whether we take a computer, a camera, or just plain simple watch, we spend a lot of time online to make sure we are making the right decision. If it is for such low value items, imagine for your biggest purchase of your life, you would do a lot of research. And unfortunately, what happens is that when somebody types in a developer's name out there, more often than not, it is usually the complaints and the negatives that pop up on the first page of Google, first few pages of Google, and that can really be bad news for the brand. So I think online reputation management is super important, which brings me to the point that it's very important for brands to really engage in what is called as thought leadership and knowledge marketing. I mean, there are beautiful tools like blogs. There is Quora, which is a wonderful Q&A site, question and answer site where you can answer people's queries. Use Facebook not as a marketing medium but as a way to give useful information for prospective buyers. I think these are all some of the really useful tools for us to do. There's Pinterest, which is a beautiful visual medium for you to not only showcase apartments but also talk about interior design, talk about feng shui, talk about so many other things that will be very useful for the audience. So I think content is absolute king. My request to developers is to spend a lot more time in building your brand, building your credibility using various forms of content, photos, videos, audio, text, as a way to really build your brand and make things useful for the consumer. That would be my advice.
Smita, how much of social media are you using? I mean, has that taken up a lot of your attention?
For us, digital is our primary medium of communication to customers, and within that we have been actively focusing on Facebook and YouTube, but we have seen that you see, when you're buying a product such as this, you're really looking at as much of information that you can get in before you decide. So where do you look for information? One is, all of us are doing internet search. The other is that we talk to friends, relatives and brokers. So it's very critical for us to engage with the right kind of influencing audiences, and therefore for us we feel that social media, even if it is reaching out more to the youth, is becoming very, very critical. And I completely buy the entire operation ORM module that you need to put in place, because that is something that you are able to in fact respond to customers. I don't think we should look at it in terms of customer complaints. I think this is very positive feedback and we should be able to respond to customers, and that is very critical for us. So it is being put into place, a lot of it is being put into place now, and really we are seeing the next year going forward we'll be very, very active both in social and in digital, and continue to do so.
Okay, what about you, Girish? How does digital and social figure in your entire marketing plan? I mean, is it gaining momentum, or is it, all out there in terms of what you would have wanted to achieve?
Manisha, over 2,000 crore has been spent on print advertising in the industry the last year. There are a multitude of brands that are advertising, and therefore I agree with most of my colleagues here who have mentioned that one needs to really break through the clutter. So therefore we are not hard and heavy on print. We only come in when we have to announce something new. Largely our focus has been to look at consumer engagement programs, and we have been first movers in that space. So if you hop across to any theatre in Mumbai which is running English plays, you will find a lot of relationship building that is happening with Godrej Properties, whether it's at the NCPA or as Tata Experimental or in various other such formats. So for us, the point is we have a strong leads database of over 250,000 potential customers. For us, it's very important to be able to ensure that we build strong conversions. Therefore, for us, the play is on two fronts. One is to take the customer relationship forward, because we believe that a customer, unlike the past, today has the potential to buy not just 1, 2, but 3 and sometimes 4 apartments. The average age of the customers who have bought into Godrej Properties are less than 30 years. So therefore, once they are a part of our family, we look at different ways of engaging and building a relationship with them. Now digital, our web and technology are very important enablers which we work with. Although we have a cautious approach towards social media because we believe that's largely a youth and a younger association that comes through. So for us, we look at keeping a watch on how Facebook is moving, and our play will come in soon, but it will not be a brand play, it will be more a kind of a community play, wherein we will work towards creating like-minded communities of people interested in architecture and good and green and sustainability, and explore that medium thereof. While of course YouTube, Pinterest, LinkedIn and other such mediums, we have a presence there, and that's working well for us. The other area that I mentioned was on the technology base. Now we are taking learnings from the gaming industry, and we are working closely with creative and technology hot shops to take that gaming learnings forward and explore virtual reality in a manner which is very different. So you've got to wait and watch what we come up with, but we are very excited about what we are doing.
I'm going to take a very short break. I want to come back and also look at television. I mean, when do you use TV? Is it such a local business, real estate, that you don't need to go on television at all? And what kind of advertisements in terms of top of the mind recall will work when it comes to TV? And a very big important question, you're talking about trust. Do you really need a big brand ambassador, as the industry has been doing? Well, many other brands have been doing across industries in this country, using either celebrity cricketers or celebrity Bollywood stars to build their brand. On our way back, we're looking at tough markets and the marketing strategies which will make the cut in the real estate sector. Welcome back. Very interesting discussion on marketing strategies that real estate sector employs today to win your trust, to get the top of the mind recall. Harish, I'm going to toss across to you and just delve a little bit on television. I mean, when is it effective? If you did say that, look, you can't ignore any medium and you have to have even the one-on-one connect, but place TV for a local business, how and when should a real estate company use it?
Typically I do believe television must be used when you are in every part of the country, at least in 5 distinct geographies within the country. Go ahead and use it. But if you're in one tiny corner of the country, and that could be even Bangalore, it's not a tiny corner anymore. But the point is, if you're just in Bangalore, then don't use television at all, because I don't think it's going to take you anywhere. Yes, of course, if you have a plan to say that I am a biggie and I'm going to ramp up from Bangalore to every other city, maybe 6-7 other cities in the next year or two, then go ahead with television. So I'm very worried about using television, because television is used in a very generic manner and you tend to get lost. And most of the time, the moment you start using television, your ponytailed creative director will come from the advertising agency and will tell you that you need a brand endorser. And then you run for a brand endorser, you try to catch a cricketer, you try to catch a film actor, you may not be able to get the bigger ones, but you'll catch some of the sundry ones, and then out you go and create an ad. Now, this is not the way the real estate business really gets recognized for what it stands for. So I think it's frivolous play when you go onto television in this format. You must go into television, but you must go into television when you're serious, when you're a pan-India player, or when you're willing to take the rub-off effect of your Godrej brand onto your real estate play, your Mahindra brand, your Tata brand. Yeah, then go into television.
Okay, all right. I think Girish is already there, but come in here, Smita, and tell us your views in terms of using both television as a medium, because you are a pan-India brand, and also using a celebrity, because you've stayed away from both, isn't it?
Television, I think, is to be used for storytelling. And when you have a story to tell, that's when you really use television. So I don't think we should really look at television from the traditional perspective in terms of doing an advertisement, but really in terms of if you want to really do it for a project, you really figure out a way in which to express your project through various mediums. I mean, television has evolved so much, it's no longer about vanilla advertising. So it's really looking at it that way. In terms of celebrity, I mean, celebrity is used in the same manner in real estate as it is used in any other category. So it is obviously to create awareness and to create visibility. So it works very well at that point in time, but we must realize that at the end of the day, we are selling a very high value product, and therefore customer will come in from an awareness perspective, but at the end of the day make the decision based on what you are offering.
Girish, I mean, for a brand like Godrej Properties, I would wonder whether you needed a big face like Aamir Khan at all or not, but you chose to go with that very big face. Why?
See, Aamir Khan is our mother brand's ambassador. And the way we smartly used him is very effectively we leveraged him across a few of our business verticals, which are our hero businesses. And Godrej Properties is one of the hero businesses of the Godrej Group because it's seen as a business of the future and one that will rapidly grow. So for us, it was a great opportunity to strengthen and reaffirm the great and the goodness and the values that Godrej stood for in terms of its credibility, trust, its innovation and professionalism, and its demonstration of having delivered. So I think Aamir Khan fitted in very well. And the way we used him was we didn't go, all over hammer and tongs on every single channel on television. We ensured that we complemented the mother brand's campaign. So we focused on news channels, we focused on programming and market hours, we focused on business related issues, we focused on channels such as Comedy Central and programming therein. So we were able to virtually take over these niche channels and create a lot of exciting, innovative opportunities which went beyond a plain vanilla 30-seconder. For example, we tied up with a couple of channels and we ran programs and contests for our partners and said that if you are able to drive traction for sales, we will actually bring you on live on a program, and then you can see that program and participate in it in the US. With two of our channels, we've been able to strike deals such as that. So we've always looked for different ways, primarily bring to the table more value that we are able to deliver.
Okay.
Creative and exciting advertising, but also in terms of clear communication messages, and all of it indeed is linked to very aggressive ROI, because I think that's very important and we never should forget that.
Fair enough. So we'll come to also, in terms of what premium you can charge and how do you assess the ROIs. But Bharat, ever thought of using a celebrity? What's your view on it?
See, as far as celebrity is concerned, my view is that sometimes what happens is the celebrity takes the entire limelight and the brand somewhere gets lost, and especially if it's a new brand, I somewhat feel that it is important for you to develop the brand on its own rather than taking a celebrity. So we have focused again on the product rather than going on a celebrity method. And second thing is, you're talking about digital before, just wanted to say something. On the digital front, see, it has to be a 360-degree thing. You have to go in and do everything, not just about doing print or radio, etc. Radio stood out for us for one particular campaign because it was localized, but digital is important. Secondly, digital is misused a lot, and there is a lot of people today in digital go ahead and write whatever it comes to their mind. Sometimes it's even wrong information is plugged about you. I have gone on a forum, put in my own mobile number and said, if anybody has a problem, call me. And I have been able to solve out most of the issues, and I have had negative comments reduce on that. So I think so digital, I don't know how much is to be trust on that. I think it's more left to do with something whereby it's information generation. And that is where your website should be as informative as possible. People should be able to reach out to your website by the Google SEOs, etc. Those things become critical. Social media, I have my doubts on that.
So, Krupa, come in here. I mean, we've got one developer, not very, a marketing professional, I would say, not very happy with the irresponsibility of social media. So, what he's saying is use it for the right knowledge dissemination, but beyond that, I wouldn't be happy.
Well, to me, I think I would completely agree with the rest of the panelists saying that it has to be a 360-degree approach. And in my opinion, digital and social are a very crucial element. Like Harish said, I mean, it's only going to get bigger and bigger as the years go by, as we catch up with the West. So See, you got to understand that we give a lot more prominence to word of mouth. So if a neighbor or if a friend had bought a property with a particular developer, then the chances are that I probably might be leaning my decision towards that. I may not make the decision, but that definitely influences. I think it's the same thing online. So we give a lot more credibility to what others think as against what, beautiful ads, great glossy looking ads and fantastic visuals. I think we're all mature enough to just see through that and really look into the key element, which is trust, which is credibility, which is are they able to give it on time. I think those are things I think online and social play a very, very crucial role, and you can never ignore that. And I really merit that when we make a decision, we Google very hard, we check around with people, and if there are negative reports coming in, then I think that's it. The chapter closes right out there. And I do agree that it's very easy for people to go out there and vent their frustration, and that's why it's very important to just quickly address it and really close it out as early as possible.
Okay, fair enough. So that's of course the response in terms of why you can't ignore social media. But Sameer, I mean, the brand ambassador question, do you think it works? I mean, you look at a smaller brand like Mahagun, which has decided to use a brand ambassador. You also look at Amrupali, which has decided to use one of the best brand ambassadors they could pick. And irrespective of what we say, I was in Chennai and I saw an ad with Madhavan on the page 1. I wouldn't have actually remembered the company's name until unless if it was just a structure of buildings. So investing in the right brand ambassador, can it get you the trust? Can you get it at least instantly or faster than what you probably do deserve?
See, I think real estate customers, at least from the mid to the luxury segment, are more discerning. I think they would just not go by the brand ambassador, and I think it's kind of been overdone. If you were to look at the affordable segment, yes, there could be influencers over there. That's my firm view. I think IREO did a fantastic job and re-rated a whole micro market without any brand ambassador.
What about the premium? We've always been saying on the property show that there is a premium. If you have a strong brand, the buyer will be willing to pay a premium, which doesn't work. I mean, is that consistent with the rest of the industries? And do you think that it's going to pan out in real estate also very, very strongly? A strong premium will be commanded by the big brands?
I think so. You know, the bigger the brand, the more recognized the brand, and the brand which hinges on the element of trust and credibility, that's going to definitely derive a premium. And this premium is going to be in terms of value, in terms of the money they're willing to pay. This premium could also be in terms of the number of years they're willing to wait for that property to deliver. Because, you know, with one property developer, they might say, I want this in 2 years, but with a very reliable player, if the reliable player says, I'll deliver it to you in 3.5 years, they might be willing to wait. So, you know, premium in every way comes through. But the entire issue on the celebrity which you did raise, I would say it's again basis credibility. Let's say you're using Rahul Dravid for your property. If you're able to justify and say that Rahul Dravid has bought a place here and he is going to be your neighbor, your real neighbor, he's not going to buy it today and he's not going to sell it away to someone else later, but he's going to stay with you, then that makes an impact. That's using the credibility of a celebrity to the ultimate advantage. So I think use a celebrity, but don't use the celebrity just as a face which is slapped on. Half the time you don't even believe that this guy will ever walk into your property or will want to even take a recce around your property.
Bharat, do you think it's going to be a challenging task looking at the slew of branded projects that you're going to be competing with in the future?
You know, I'll tell you, when we were doing this Omkar 1973, we had a choice of going in for a brand, and even Trump had approached us. What we looked at was, at the end of the day, who puts the project together? Is the designers. It is the execution guys, it's the company which is going to develop it. It is the people who are going to do your lighting, your landscaping, etc. And what we did was, we said, okay, fine, let's do one thing. We should go for the best in the field they are in. And that is how you're going to get a better product. And eventually the product will speak for itself. And there is no point having a brand for the sake of putting a name just because they have been able to make success in whatever they have done. I think so you have to put energy and life into the product itself first, and that can be done by getting the best people in their field to work on your product.
Okay.
We have got the Norman Fosters to work on the architecture, we have got HBA, we have got LDA, etc. So all the best of the people when they are working on your brand, who are the masters in what they do, I think so that is what is going to create the product. And then after that it's your execution, and we have got L&T to do it. Who better than that? So I think so it's put together the product which you put and the execution what you do.
I think we're going to wrap out at this point. So clearly the product is what is going to be the loudest in terms of your advertisement and your endorsement. Gentlemen and Smita, thanks very much for joining me today. We've gone a little bit all over the place today simply because I wanted to understand what each one is thinking, but at the end of it, I think the game plan is push short-term sales. Yes, use whatever you can, freebies and discounts, but you can't ignore the long-term goal of building a very, very strong brand, because that's where your premium will come, and that will get built on both delivery as well as doing a strong campaign across all mediums. Thank you very much for joining me today. It was a pleasure to have you watch this show as well. If you've got any views, do write into us at property@ndtv.com.